What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You know what? I really don't have much more to say today than I do yesterday, except for two very important things, maybe a third anecdote. Today shifted like big. The past couple days, I've been super stressed out, not getting into my noodle and everything, and I've been practicing here and you know, looking up videos and figuring things out, and I'm slowly getting the hang of it. And I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but I was kind of nervous going into the school to begin with because it's a much shorter program than the original one we were looking at. The problem was with the original one was that it was like next week, and I didn't have time to prepare. I didn't have time to go down there and test to get in, and which is good because it was all math, and I would have never have gotten in anyway, judging by my first day at this particular school. But here I am walking into it thinking it's going to be, because it's a lot less time, I should say, excuse me. The one that was in the first one was a real long program. I think it was going to get out right around my birthday in March, maybe even afterwards. I don't remember exactly, but it was considerably longer, maybe even double what I'm doing now. So I'm walking into this thinking I'm getting like the Timu version. And the more I'm getting to know Cosmo, the owner, the older dude, and learning from him, I'm starting to ease up on that. And he also spoke about that kind of sort of here at one point because he was the only instructor we had today. And let me tell you something, it got tiresome real quick. Actually, that's not true. That's not true. Up until the first break, which is at 10 o'clock, we get about 15 minutes, and then we usually break for lunch at noon, and then we're out at 2 o'clock. So it's not like it's a long day, but it's a lot of shit to cram into your skull piece, you know? And there were a couple of cats that just were getting it less than I was. And some that, you know, obviously was getting it. But thank God I was right in the middle. I don't mind being average because I don't want to be special in one way or the other. Because if you're special in one way, they make you do more things. And if you're special in the other way, well, you get made fun of and kicked out and beat up and spat upon. And I don't like it. So he stopped everything. He was like, all right, we need to stop. We need to stop. I want to talk to you guys for a minute. What I'm doing is I'm cramming about a month's worth of training into you guys this week because the program's so short. And it clicked. Bam. I'm getting the same amount of education. Or I should have said the same amount. But unfortunately, because of the schedule and who's paying for it, the United States Navy, remember that, it's condensed, and it's more going to be on hands-on. We're actually Friday going to go in to the machine shop, and we're going to learn a lot of, obviously, machine safety and stuff. But today we were talking about making pockets and how to, account for the radius of the drill and, all that stuff. So you programming basically the X and the Y's, which I know about from the 3D printer. And apparently we use G-code as well, which I kind of know. I know how to make a G-code by slicing something, but I don't know how it works as it pertains to machining. But when he did that, including me, I felt the entire class is kind of, he's like, look, I'm not expecting you to know this, even after we've talked about it a few times. If you catch the basic gist of it, that's all I'm looking for. If you could come up and do it on the board, even better. But when you come up here, and you're kind of getting it, and I jump in, and then you're kind of getting it more, that's more what I'm looking for, and I apologize for not letting you know that. Because when we get out on the floor, as far as the shop is concerned, that's when it's going to happen. And I asked him, I said, are you talking about a eureka moment? And he said, yeah, actually, it's a great way to look at it. So that really calmed things down. It was a great morning. We jumped into calipers and we jumped into micrometers, which I picked up in seconds. I'm good with tools. Give me numbers, I'm garbage. But I'm good with tools. And I'm pretty confident in that. And he was confident in my abilities as well. And then we went on to talking about countersinks and stuff like that. And I had a couple of different questions. And this is the part where I did get frustrated today. And I do want to speak on this because I'd love to go back years from now and try to remember this. But he's old school, okay? I'm asking simple yes or no questions. And I'm not getting yes or no. And honestly, you ask these girls here. That's one of my biggest. I get so mad when I'm like, hey, XYZ, and I don't get a yes or no. I get some fucking long-winded story about their life and how many sandwiches they ate last week and what the shape of their poo was. And then they give me an answer. I just want yes or fucking no. Oh, excuse me. I just want yes or no, please. He is old school, and he's like, okay, this is how we do this. There were a few calculations to figure out where to put, the bit. You gotta program it to go in a circle, but you can't, you gotta account for the shape of the bit that you're gonna use and all kinds of stuff. And that stuff I'm familiar with. But I noticed, I thought it was addition. You had to, an addition problem all the way around. And then I saw that they were subtracting in some spots. And I'm just like, okay. So we add and subtract depending on location. And he says, look. And he literally explained the whole process again. And I'm like, okay, Cosmo, I don't want to be a jerk. Now, mind you, this is after class was over. I asked him real quick, hoping it was a yes or a no. And then I was going to, be off like a prom dress. So he did it again. He did the whole thing. And I went, Cosmo, stop. And I pointed to things. I'm like, I understand we're trying to go here, here, and here. Because if you go by the blueprints, we're going to be cutting through, I understand that. I'm just asking a simple yes or no. Do we do both addition and subtraction depending on the circumstances and the access? And he goes, oh, yeah. And earlier in the day, I had a simple question that he kind of did the same thing, but he veered somewhere else with it. So you know what I did? I just let it alone. I just left it alone. He, again, went to talk about, we were talking about creating a counter sink. Or, I'm sorry, a counter 4. And I was just asking about, if we're still going to give it a chamfer. That's all I asked. Because he didn't mention it. He didn't show it. He didn't mention it. And he went and said, well, if you're going to sink the thing in, and I'm just like, oh, God, yes or no? So I let it go. I let it go. But that was literally 3 minutes of the whole day. What a fucking fantastic day. I'm sorry I'm swearing. I don't care in this one. I'm not going to edit it out. I don't know if you noticed that in the last video. I edited out a lot of F-bombs. That's why in some cases it just seemed to jump a lot. But overall, the third day was actually a lot more encouraging. Tomorrow, we're not going to have him. There's a small hint of him maybe coming back after lunch, which is usually only an hour and a half anyway. Today was awesome because he went on like 20 minutes late for lunch, which I'm fine with because you go to lunch and it's almost time to go home. I loved doing that when I was at work. Work, because the time's going. Don't stop for lunch. Just keep going. Take your lunch, and you're going to go home soon. Fantastic stuff. So, there we stand. Day number 3. I don't know if I'm going to do this every day. What I might do after this week, I'm definitely going to do one all the way up until Friday, the 13th. Maybe I'll finally put a strap on this. Strap on. And then I'll do my end of week review on my Richard Brooker mask. I made this. The blank I bought. I bought the blank. I just need to put straps on it. I have the straps. Obviously, I have the snaps. I just haven't had the gusto. You want to see this? I'm trying to sculpt a skull into the mask, and I kind of just gave up. This is one of those cheap $10 masks from Spirit Halloween. In fact, I might just break these off and just try to repaint this. I'll do a video on it. But regardless, guys, I hope you're having a great week. I am. Again, I keep getting frustrated, but I think a lot of it has to do with I'm not acclimated to going out there anymore. You know what I mean? I'm such a hermit. I wouldn't call myself agoraphobic because I'm not terrified to go out there. I just have a lot of anxieties about being out there with other people. And I've isolated for so long that my tolerance to discomfort, we'll just call it a discomfort tolerance, is touchy. It's a hair trigger. And in the car on my way there, I'm friggin' screaming the whole time. I'm getting it with my heart all beating. And then when something simple like that happens, normally I was a corrections officer. I knew how to maintain my stuff. But, things change over time. And it may have frustrated me. It may have frustrated me today. But you know what? Tomorrow's a new day. We're going to have another instructor, so the younger kid. and he's going to be able to break it down, because that process that we were talking about, we talked about the last hour of the day. So I believe Brandon, I think it's Brandon, is going to pick up and probably just tell us all over again. But he has a way of breaking it down. Like, I want to see it written out. I want to know where you got that number that you subtracted from this, because it's like it's in a formula and he just says it. It's like, where is that number coming from? That's what I want to see. I want to see the math. Show me the math. And I did mention that, and then he started having people do that, and things started clicking with me and a couple other cats. But either way, I'm feeling a lot more confident on day 3, especially since he gave us that speech, despite my frustration with his lack of yes or no responses. And that's a me thing. That's not a him thing. This guy Cosmo is such an amazing human being. If anyone from the school, I'm not going to put any of that for a searchable thing, but if anyone from the school comes across any of these videos and you get to this point here on day 3, please know I complain about Cosmo here and there, but when I'm doing that, it's more about how I'm responding to it. I think Cosmo is an amazing human being. We need more of him on the planet. We really do. He gave us a speech as to why he does what he does. He wasn't going to open up a school. The government came to him and he was like, you know what? This trade has been so good to me. I mean, the dude's an immigrant from Europe. He came here when he was 20, started working in machine shops, working his way up, and then one day just owned one. And now he has millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of equipment. He's got a school that he's running and teaching very well. It's frustrating how he does, but he's still, it's going well. He's got great help. His daughter's the one who coordinated all of this, and she's in an office right outside the classroom, so she's available at all times. She even came out and was like, this is the part that everyone hates. Just get through this, and I promise you, you guys will go far. As long as you show up and you actively participate in your learning. So, what can I say besides it was just a really good day? I guess it wasn't a quick one. Oh, quicker than yesterday. Yesterday was over 20 minutes long, wasn't it? Not with the edits, but that'll give you an idea how many F-bombs were in there. This one I might not even do. I'm just going to upload it raw. I'm going to raw dog these from now on. I'm not going to make them regular videos because I'm not expecting too many people to watch them. But I can't thank you guys enough for the positivity. There's a response I got on day 1, I believe, a really long one. I haven't responded to because I want to respond to the whole thing. So let me take notes. Let me take notes and I'll respond to it because it really, I'm going to pin it. I'm going to pin it if I don't have an important thing pinned there already. I doubt I do. But I'm going to pin it in my first video. I believe it was my first video. If not, it was the second one. You'll see it. Thank you for all that. Thank you for that. And I did know about the calculator thing. As a matter of fact, Cosmo went over that with us on day 1. He was hyping up the field. And he's like, all right, so this is kind of how this all began, and this is why we had this system. They ran out of these numbers, so they went to the letters, and then they ran out of it, And then eventually we had to figure out a calculator, and then we went to the moon. Texas Instruments down in Rhode Island. One of my landlords worked there. So guys, thank you always so much for watching. I promise you I'll have a fun content here pretty soon. I just need to figure out something to do. I've been just so hyper-focused on this. And I'm pretty sure most of you can, appreciate that. I understand doing this is about repetitive. It's about consistency. Come on. Doing it 13 years on my other channel and however long here. There's zero. I mean, I've gone a year without making a video for here, but I'm glad I've been picking this up, and I'm glad I have this resource for this experience because it is amazing. And I can't wait until I'm walking off my 2-year plan. 2-year plan from the day I start working is to buy a brand new or certified used, more than likely, one of the new Broncos with a little package. I don't want it to be fucking massive. And don't give me anything that's just a Jeep or whatever. No, man, I've been a fan of Broncos since day 1. I had a security job in Rhode Island. I think we talked about it. Maybe even in the last video. No, it was during a live stream on the Atari Creek. But long story short, I drove a truck for the water department going from reservoir to reservoir to reservoir, making sure nobody was there, that kind of stuff, right? And each cycle took about 2.5 hours. So you really only got 2.5, you know, and you had to punch this weird clock, and you bring the truck back to the water department from that local area. Why was I bringing that up? Oh, because I was driving a 1984 Bronco. Now, it's not quite the small ones that were from the early days of Ford Broncos. The ones that kind of... I used to confuse Internationals with early Broncos. And if you know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you could see where that confusion happened. But I'm in love with the new Broncos. I really am. I want a nice green one or black. I want it built a little bit. I don't want ridiculous tires. I want functionality, because I do feel like I do want to go adventuring again in a vehicle, and I think that would be an amazing vehicle to do it. So that's my 2-year goal, and that could change. I may have another goal and be like, the Bronco, who cares? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to try to find something special to put at the end of these videos. Well, I can't do that in this one because I'm not going to edit this one. Because I don't have time. I got to go get my lady now. And I got home late, and I had an appointment at 3. Crazy times. I'm going to have to learn how to re-navigate life again. It's fine, though. It's fine. I'm starting to feel alive. I suppose that's what's most important, guys. Thank you. I hope you're all doing well. Until next time, take care. Keep it real. Subscribe. Don't subscribe. I'd appreciate if you did. Make me feel better. But if you don't, keep watching without it. I'm not going to kick you out. And bye-bye. It's going well.